New this afternoon, South Carolina's governor has named Darlene Graham Nordone to the Senate temporarily after her brother, Senator Lindsey Graham, died over the weekend. He was 71 years old. Graham's death was sudden and unexpected. A preliminary medical report says he died from a tear in his aorta. Our 9 News health expert, Dr. Payal Kohli, is here to talk more about this. For her day job outside of TV, she's a cardiologist, so it's really important.
This is not a heart attack.
No.
What's an aortic dissection?
It's a common misconception that people think it's a heart attack. It's a tear in your aorta. Do you know what your aorta is? That's that big blood vessel that carries all the blood
to your heart,
out of your heart, to the rest of your body. So it comes out of your heart, it takes a U-turn, it goes down to your legs, it carries blood to your brain, to your arms, to your legs, to every organ. So if you tear the wall of this blood vessel, you can imagine that that can be catastrophic, life-threatening. In fact, they say 40% of people die as soon as it tears.
Is that blood coming out of it and going into your body? And if so, what does it feel like? What are there warning signs?
So the blood actually fills the wall of the blood vessel. So think about it like a triple layer cake. That's how the aorta looks. Now, do you know what an aneurysm is? That's when the aorta is stretched out like a water balloon. A dissection is a tear into those triple layers of the cake. And so what you would feel is a tearing, ripping chest pain. Sometimes you don't have symptoms at all. In fact, some people can have no symptoms, they suddenly stand up. But what we're classically told in medical school is tearing, ripping chest pain that radiates to the back is usually an aortic dissection unless proven otherwise. Now, what could happen when your blood suddenly fills the wall of the blood vessel rather than going to your organs? Your brain doesn't get perfused, you pass out. Your heart doesn't get perfused, you have a cardiac arrest, you have a stroke, you have heart failure. You can then have a heart attack because you tear the arteries around the heart. So what we know happened to Senator Graham is after 8 o'clock on Saturday, they called and said he had a cardiac arrest. Heart stopped beating, likely due to the dissection. They started CPR about 20 minutes later. They pronounced him dead 10:23 p.m. Did an autopsy the next day, found this tear in the wall of his blood vessel. And they said it was at the site of something called atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. So plaque, cholesterol deposits, or hardening can usually be a place that starts that tear, so to speak.
So, as the cardiologist here, you're saying you don't really have symptoms. Is there anything that can be done to kind of predict you'd be at risk? And do people ever survive this?
Yes, and yes. So some people don't have symptoms, usually leading up to it. It can happen suddenly. It can happen when you're straining, lifting something heavy, or if you have a sudden increase in your blood pressure, because that puts stress on the wall of the artery. So the way that we sort of predict if somebody's at risk for dissection, we look at the risk factors that would damage the blood vessel: high blood pressure, cholesterol or hardening, smoking is a big one. Family history of having either aneurysms or dissections tells me you have sort of weak or fragile blood vessels, or if you have something called collagen vascular disease or bicuspid aortic valve. These are all things that can cause that water balloon, that big aorta that carries our blood, to be thin and sort of friable so that it can tear easily. If you do survive it, so 40% die right away, 60% survive, depending on where the tear is. If it's the part that comes out of the heart, I'm putting you in a chopper, you're getting airlifted to the hospital, chest cracked open, we're doing a replacement of your aorta. If it's the descending aorta, the part that goes to your legs, sometimes we can manage that with medicines by resting your aorta, driving down your blood pressure, and sort of waiting for that tear to heal on its own.
And just quickly before we go, if you're with somebody and you think they're having some sort of heart incident, what can you do outside of calling 911? Getting people to the person as fast as possible? Is there anything else you can do to help?
If they go unconscious, Phil, you have to start CPR because that's their only chance at survival. That's the only way that you're actually going to get blood going to the brain. You have to make sure that you're
pumping the heart.
Yes, and you don't have to do mouth to mouth, but just start pumping the heart. Make sure. But for people out there who have risk factors, or really for anyone, tearing, ripping, chest pain, that is an emergency unless otherwise proven.
Just quickly, there are people out there that are doubting this. You said there's the autopsy, and that to you, this is 100% clear what happened.
Well, the preliminary medical report has said that he dissected his aorta. They said they're going to wait for toxicology, and they're going to wait for any microbiology and anything else to give the final diagnosis. But if he tore his aorta, usually type A, that's the ascending part, that's usually a fatal event that can be the cause of death.
I learned a lot. Thank you, Dr. Kohli. We appreciate you.